about one of your favorite A's players all the way up until A's opening day on March 27th as they open things up in Toronto against the defending American League champion Toronto Blue Jays again on March 27th. So we are inching closer and closer to first pitch of that game, and we're excited to be able to quell that excitement. Until then, by talking about the exciting players on this roster that will be competing to get back into the postseason for the first time since 2020. Today we head to the outfield and share our thoughts on left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. Soderstrom, to get to know him if you're not familiar with him, is a native of Turlock, California. As a senior in 2020 playing for the Turlock High School team, Tyler was named the Gatorade California Player of the Year. He signed to play college baseball at UCLA, but was drafted by the Oakland Athletics with the 26th overall pick in the first round of the 2020 MLB June amateur draft from Turlock High School right out there in Turlock, California. He signed with the A's, choosing to forego his college education. After that, he spent time ascending through the A's organization as one of their most exciting top prospects, eventually breaking through to the major league level in 2023, splitting his time between starting as a designated hitter in 18 games, catcher for 15 games, and first base another additional 8. On July 14, 2023, Soderstrom was selected to the 40-man roster and promoted to the major leagues for the first time. He made his major league debut that night at the Oakland Coliseum versus the Minnesota Twins. He recorded his first MLB hit, an infield single off Gavin Stone on July 15th. He hit his first MLB home run on August 4th at Dodger Stadium off Emmett Sheehan. He struggled at the plate, batting just .160 with 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. In 2024, the following season, he was able to focus on playing first base exclusively, logging only 4 innings as the team's catcher. That focus seemed to increase his batting productivity. But he injured his left wrist in July and spent 2 months rehabbing before making it back to the A's for the final month of the season. In 2025, he opened the season once again as the A's starting first baseman, and he did so with a show of power that ensured a spot in the starting lineup even after Rookie of the Year phenom Nick Kurtz broke in as the everyday first baseman. He had 3 two-homer games in the first 3 weeks of the season. There were moments where he looked a bit shaky in left field as he was working to learn the footwork. Some may have even called him a liability, but in the end he ended up being a finalist for the Gold Glove Award, losing out to perennial winner Stephen Kwan from the Cleveland Guardians. That is not an accolade offered up to a liability. In fact, he made more spectacular fielding plays than mistakes, finishing second in the league in outfield assists with 11. He also became a consistent hitter in the middle of the A's talented batting order. He finished the season batting .276 with 25 home runs and 93 RBIs along with an .820 OPS. On December 25th, Christmas of this past year, Soderstrom and the A's were in agreement to a 7-year, $86 million contract extension to lock up Soderstrom as a pillar for this franchise for the present and the long-term future as they transition to their time in Vegas. This past season, he also walked at an 8.8 walk percentage and a 22.6 K percentage rate. On this past season, some other measurables, he averaged 91.6 miles per hour with his average exit velo of contact, which ranked in the 84th percentile across qualified hitters according to Baseball Savant, a 49.8 hard hit percentage, which was 86th percentile, and from the defensive side of things, he showed off a strong arm, averaging 90.7 miles per hour on his arm strength, which was in the 88th percentile of all qualified players. So Sodi really had a breakout campaign in 2025, and to me, as exciting as the emergence of Nick Kurtz was upon his arrival at the end of April, and the exciting steps forward that Jacob Wilson and his rookie campaign as well, earning a nod as being the American League All-Star starting shortstop at the All-Star game, so that was exciting as well. But to me, in terms of productivity of how hot he got out from the start, out of the gate that Soderstrom got, and was able to sustain that level of productivity all throughout the course of the season, and playing in the majority of games too as well. I think he only sat out 4 games total or 5, something like that. It was very minimal. Played 150-plus games and was the top RBI producer. So to me, I feel like Soderstrom's season was kind of lost in the shuffle a bit. I think a lot of people took note, including the A's front office. Obviously, they loved what they saw by locking him up to a long-term contract extension. Congratulations to Tyler Soderstrom, well earned. And you can see all the tools that he put on display really come to fruition this past season. I still think he is still rather young, and there's still plenty of time and development for him, where I think one area of growth that you're going to see is to have a little bit more discipline at the plate. Sometimes when Soderstrom gets into a tough lull at the dish, it's oftentimes where he is chasing pitchers' pitches. So if he can show a little bit more of that plate discipline, and he showed it a lot more immensely last year than he did in years previous, so I think he's taken immense steps forward. I just think that is a big key component for most hitters, but especially younger hitters as they're learning to get their foundation at the major league level. I think that's the next step where perhaps we could see Soderstrom take a crack at getting a 10-plus walk percentage. I think that would be great with the combination of him perhaps cutting down that K percentage, but also becoming an even more productive player for his team by finding a deeper way to get on base for your team. And perhaps while you're seeing that he is getting a high volume of hits and hitting the ball with authority, having a good display of power, it would be nice for him to see him find his way on base via the free pass more frequently as well. Someone that does project to be in the middle of this A's order. I think that's another tool that Soderstrom could add to his belt. But very excited for what he showed in 2025, and I think he's someone that we haven't even seen the best of quite yet. He's still on the young side of 25, so I think plenty of ample time for development to be added to his game. So good luck to Sodi. We had a pleasure talking about you. There was a lot to like. And with him being the ultimate team guy in 2025, by the way, he was penciled in to be the team's everyday first baseman. Gladly, in order for the A's to be able to keep Sodi in the lineup, they asked him to give it a go at left field. Without any resentment, without any friction from Soderstrom, he gladly accepted the assignment. There were some initial struggles out there as he learned some alignment and some footwork out there, but you could see he has that rocket for an arm, and he adjusted swimmingly. He had the second most outfield assists in all of baseball, and he made some great diving plays, helping getting the team out of some tough situations. So I thought he made an excellent transition, and I think he can only get better as that position. Just the more reps you get there, the more comfortable. And you could see that Soderstrom, the more reps he got out there, the better he got. That's just normal. For someone that had no professional experience at left field, I thought he had an amazing season, finishing second in the Gold Glove race for left field this past season. So looking forward to Soderstrom continue to offer that element to his game as well to help the A's get closer and closer to that postseason berth. But best of luck to Sodi. Let's take a look at what his projections are according to Fangraphs. They expect him to play in 136 games, so not quite as many as last year, hitting to a .256 batting average of 26 home runs, 87 RBIs, an 8.4 walk percentage, a 22.7 K percentage, and a 783 OPS. So we are going to take a look. The easy one would be the games because Soderstrom is someone that I feel has proven to find a way to stay relatively healthy. So we would hammer the over, by the way, with the 136. But that's not going to be the A's Day official prediction for today's show. What we're going to focus on is that OPS because we understand that with the correlation of the BABIP being a bit high would perhaps speak to Soderstrom having a bit of regression. But you can see with the Fangraphs projection in terms of home runs and RBIs, they still view Soderstrom as still being a productive middle-of-the-order type bat. They just see the average being a tick down and maybe not having as much of luck as he did perhaps as the numbers say last year. But I do think it's going to be quite the opposite. I think Soderstrom is going to be someone that's going to be hitting with a lot more confidence this year, that he has a full season of his belt now of consistent performance, of doing damage on pitchers of all arrays, from the right and left-handed side too. So Soderstrom no longer, I think he is slowly erasing that label. Yes, does he feast on right-handed pitching better than lefties? Absolutely. but you can see some steps in Soderstrom's development that he stood in there against some tough lefties a lot better last year than he had done the 2 years prior. So I think for him, I think he's really turning himself into a potential all-star. It's going to take some time to continue, like we mentioned, to perhaps show a little bit more plate discipline, having a little bit more command of the strike zone. But when Sodi is locked in and right, he can hang in there with the best of them. So, and I still think the best is yet to come from him. And I think the OPS is just based on his walk rate. They don't feel like he's going to take major steps forward there. So they have his OBP down a little bit lower than I think it's actually truly going to end up being. And I think with Sodi's continued development that he is going to have that extra base hit in his game. So I think his doubles are a little bit low. So I think there's going to be a few upticks of the slugging percentage here as projected, just because of that hitter-friendly environment, too, of getting to play half your games at Sutter Health Park. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen a game there, first of all, check it out. It's a great way to see the A's and then the opponent up close and personal, unlike many venues around the league while they are there in West Sacramento. It's definitely a cool spot to check out some MLB action. But definitely you could see the flight of the baseball is certainly different there. So I don't think that the projections truly taken the stadium factor. So in my mind, based on what I saw throughout last season, I just think Sodi's going to hit to the stadium a little bit better. So they project him, like we mentioned, to hit to a 783 OPS. We're going to hammer the over. We think Sodi's going to have another fine season, perhaps depending on how the outfield core performs this year in the American League. Maybe we'll see Sodi in the All-Star game. Time will tell. But I just feel like based on what he put on tape last year, and I think the steps that he's going to continue to take forward, the stronger he gets as he gets older as well, I think that OPS for Soderstrom is going to have to start for me at least with an 8. So very excited to see him continue to take those steps forward in his maturation as a professional ball player. But Soderstrom is someone, he is the model of consistency, the model of durability this past season. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has for an encore to follow up and to avoid any of that potential regression after coming off such a strong season in 2025. And with that brings us to the close of another edition of A's Player Preview and Prediction. We hope you enjoyed today's edition of A's Player Preview and Prediction as we discuss the outlook for left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. As a reminder, if you want to continue the conversation going about Tyler Soderstrom or any of our series editions, be sure to check us out on our social media platforms, on Instagram at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at A's Day Baseball, and be sure to check us out on our YouTube channels for video editions of these shows, as well as at our A's player interviews and A's baseball content destination experience content, and so much more to come throughout this season and for many seasons to come. It gives us great joy to create A's content for your viewing pleasure. And don't forget to become an official subscriber of A's Day on our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day. For just $2 a month, you'll be entered to win monthly A's Day t-shirts, A's autographed memorabilia, future A's game tickets, and so much more as we are able to grow this platform collaboratively. Join us next time for our next edition of A's Player Preview and Prediction, as you are going to actually hear on the tail end of Tuesday's show as we talk about A's utility man Andy Ibanez. Until next time, Holy Toledo, let's go A's.